Alright, the Ming army is grouped together, but again, without manpower, they can't replenish any of their stacks. Some of them are even still taking attrition there. Oh, that is grim news for them. War score at minus 31. Nepal have invaded in the south, and I strongly believe they're going to try to march their way over to their victory card, which they might be a little too greedy in going for, but I think they're going to try it. The Ming is doing a hurrah against Delhi units. Ooh. Well, they're throwing everything into Wushang. And they might be able to kick out the Delians, but Delhi's bringing reinforcements, and that Delhi morale and discipline, nothing to be sneered at. Okay, Ming secure a victory there. They're going to focus their efforts south, it looks. It seems they want to take their fight properly with the Indians.
Trying to negotiate hard.
Yeah, no doubt trying to negotiate here, because for Ming the clock is ticking. They're being invaded, half the country is under occupation, and their richest lands are being threatened now. But with no manpower to restore, he's in a grim spot there. But if I'm Ming, I think it's time to cut the losses here. Every battle he takes is just putting further and further into a manpower deficit. 22,000 short on men. Ouch. And he had so much manpower early on. What with that quantity ideas and such. He's moving on to Nepal. He's picking a fight with Nepal. Nepal have great ideas, or national ideas, but I don't think it's picked ideas to really complement that just yet. They could be rocking a lot more morale and discipline than that. And for that, the Ming is coming on in and wiping them out, protecting the score, the victory card at least. And Malacca's still getting involved in there, bringing the fight against Delhi, but I'm not sure if it's enough.
Why are we paused?
That is a good question. Why are we paused? I do not have.
Yeah, he's.
the information.
Yeah, Daniel says he can't see his occupation, see just a click promise and something's bugged out with this game.
Interesting. Meanwhile, I'm curious about what's going on for poor Kilwa. Do they have an army left, or have they been... They still have something resembling an army, but where is it? Okay, Kilwa's army tried to invade Benin. Didn't go so well. Beaten back by Brazilians and wiped out there. Ooh, okay. So now, I dare say, Kilwa have no army. That's it. They've lost out there. Although kudos to them for bringing the fight down there.
The game needs to be paused until Starnan is back.
Yeah, we need to have him come in and negotiate his own peace here.
No, or keep fighting or whatever, because it's like now people are paused and tick forward, which is not kosher.
Yeah. There we go. Starnan's back on his way in. Alright, and we're back. Quality timing. Manchu's looking good, striped in red here. I'm not sure what Japan's really after here. I feel like Japan just wants everything. And he's doing his best going for everything. He's got a huge chunk of Southeast Asia. He's got Japan. He's, for whatever reason, taking over Kamchatka and friends. Yeah, where does the Kaiser's ambitions end?
We promised revenge on some nations.
Yes, I tried to stop reminding him because he pointed out that I was reminding him every post-session banter. But he said he'll be back in Italy with a vengeance. I reckon he's just building up power.
Yeah,
here
so
for
there's
that.
about.
Well, the fighting is continuing. I mean, the Commonwealth, though, what a balance changer they were for this. If you'd cut the Commonwealth out of this, the Ming troops wouldn't have looked quite so underdeveloped in this.
Yeah.
Oh, Genoa have shown up. I quite want to see what people have brought in terms of participation here. Obviously, Ming doing the chunk of participation on their side. But on the attacking participants, Hungary with 10% of it, 33 in Delhi, 23 on Nepal, 15 on Commonwealth.
And
Austria
this is,
and Genoa are just bringing in cheerleading.
the UI is broken here.
What's
It's
good
like the Ming line is so big that the columns are too wide.
Their losses are too high. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, they are.
in the income calculation. So basically, we have Austria doing nothing, Genoa doing nothing, Sin doing nothing, Saxony doing nothing. It's basically Commonwealth, Timurids, Nepal, and Delhi fighting the war.
I'm really confused as to why Saxony got involved, though. They're obviously not sending their troops out. Why would they ally up Hungary for that?
Delhi still got some manpower. Ming has... Hungary's manpower is declining nicely. So Commonwealth has insane amount.
Oh, yeah. What I'm confused is that Commonwealth haven't been building up more in their home country. I was looking at them wondering why they hadn't built more regimental camps, for example. Because Commonwealth's force limit is actually quite low, but they could vastly bump that up by investing in their country right about now.
So why are we so slow? Lilius for...
Yeah. Japanese occupation is having a toll on his performance. There we go. And Japan is putting in a typical Kaiser peace deal, wanting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 provinces. Basically taking no prisoners there.
Well, it took entire Indonesia and most of Malacca.
Yeah, he doesn't do half measures.
Nepal is losing a little bit. Their Malacca is getting occupied by AI.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, people weren't bringing the fight to Malacca, but Malacca is AI. This is what they'll do. All the while, though, Nepal still fights from an incredibly safe and insulated position. They got Delhi keeping them safe from just about every threat in the north, and their navy keeping them safe from any threat in the south, east, and west. And they've taken naval ideas, so once they have those fleshed out, just Japan will be the only one to threaten them on the seas. And I'm not sure if Japan wants to pick a fight with India when his destination is supposedly Italy. Alright, I'm not sure if Ming has much of an army left to throw at... he's still got the guts at 200,000 going there, maybe even 300,000. But he's band up together and fighting who he can, where he can. And he is mopping up some forces. I think the attackers have gotten a little too cocky here. Like Hungary running into Fengyang and immediately eating a whole lot of losses from the Chinese here.
That's a stack wipe.
Stack wipe. Oh, and he's moving on, taking on Helia's Manchu forces. Notably not picking the fights with the Commonwealth forces because we saw what happened with that before. War exhaustion super high for the Ming though. That can't be good for them. And not to mention that mandate isn't looking good. His mandate's going down by 1 a month. If he keeps this fight going on for another year or two, he could be tapped out of it.
No, it's in this situation where I wish EU4 was a little bit more advanced and used the more in-depth combat system we developed for Imperator, where you basically can't reinforce on foreign territory like we do here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because currently you want to bring in all your units together just for the big mashed up fights.
Yeah, and it's like you're taking attrition, taking a loss.
Now, this is all Ming can do to survive. Try to protect himself over here, but he's being loomed over by all these European troops who are on vacation. But this vacation is kind of the ideal time for people to strike them in Europe. The Commonwealth and Hungary, they're all out of the picture. This would be a great opportunity for Austria to rise up against the oppression, but no, Austria has joined in this fight against the Ming and poor Yemen. Yemen's going for their last hurrah. They're trying to save Sakhta from Timurid occupation.
Yeah, that's... an interesting fight.
I don't think Yemen's going to be able to manage that, but hey, they've surprised me before.
This is the only theater that feels fair. Yemen were timid. The attack on
Yeah, the attack
Ming,
on Ming is overkill. They've got twice as many troops and many of them are stronger than the Chinese. But Yemen versus Timurids, right? Yemen has a punch above in the battles quite often. Oh, well, not here. His discipline seems to have mashed away. Igrugi's saying there's an event for them now. European traders in China. I'm not so sure if trading is the right word. Taking, perhaps. But the last of the Ming army is being thrown mercilessly against these European invaders. Losses on both sides are huge.
You should zoom in on the island itself. Now look at the beautiful army of Kachar there.
The army in where?
It's in, the small island in China. Two Promise Island, east of Vietnam.
Yes, and I see a little Kashar army there just kind of chilling.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful. It's an elephant.
Yeah. Man,
with all the metal gleaming in the sun there.
Those models are almost too good.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's having a good time. The Ming army is certainly not. There's the Delhi on the counterattack.
Oh yeah, there's a battle. We have a battle. But
yeah. Over in Hefei, but there's so many reinforcements around that the Ming can't catch a break. They're almost cornered in the south of their own country now.
Yep. The Commonwealth armies, the beautiful winged hussars, they're marching back home. Some of them. Why?
We have a peace deal coming in from the Timurids. They want to take 3 provinces off of Yemen. Interesting.
I would take that. I would take that as
that would get that would get them out of the war for the Ming.
Because the Timurids.
Timurids certainly have numbers, although they are dedicated over on the Yemen front, and that would actually save Yemen from this ongoing occupation.
But no peace for that.
Yeah, things are getting worse and worse for the Ming. Not better.
We have Daniel having.
Yeah, if I was Ming, I'd think surrender is the way forward here. They're just taking more and more losses, losing more and more of their manpower, and their money's gone down massively. They had 19,000 at the start of this war. Now they have 12,000. Oh, it's Daniel. Daniel with a 9. What's he up to? Probably trying to take everything he can off of Kilwa, but his war score isn't that high on Kilwa. It's only 25.
No, there was some UI bug.
Either way, though.
There's a lost battle for the Ming still in the.
Yeah, I'm seeing trying to settle everything on the battlefield over in Xi'an.
But it's a slaughter.
Oh yeah. Like I said, Ming's essentially cornered now in the south of their own country. Although there goes Malacca, bravely fighting, bravely dying. Here we go. Delhi's sending in their own peace deal, but they're demanding, what, 8 provinces themselves? There's no reason for Ming to be accepting these separate pieces. They only need to accept peace with Hungary.
Yep.
But we don't know what Hungary's demands are. Maybe they've made them and they've been too outrageous for the Ming to take, but I'd love to see what they could take. If there's a free diplomat available for Hungary, I want to take a look at what can be done. There's a question about Malacca piecing out. Yeah, Malacca's pieced out. Probably a white piece. D-Note, I believe, got pulled away into a meeting and couldn't make it for this session, so Malacca will not be torn apart just for being a good ally to Ming here. Okay, looks like the overall fighting has eased off. Notice that the Saxon units are on their way home. Looks like Genoese units are heading home as well. Commonwealth troops are already out of there. The Indians are still in this fight because, you know, it's their neighborhood essentially. They don't have such a long distance to go home. Doesn't look like it's because there's big wars going on over here. Nope, no, indeed. Prussia's taking advantage of all this going on and gobbling up more of Scandinavia. They're in there into Finland.
Yeah, prettifying the map, I would say.
Taking over that new Swedish capital of Åbo. But this is good real estate for Prussia, and the fact that they're taking it instead of Commonwealth. I do wonder why the Commonwealth is allowing such Prussian expansion. I just hope Commonwealth don't get too complacent with the situation. Yes, they're very strong, but a lot of things can really change in the late game with absolutism, with reduced costs for many things. You could quickly get eclipsed, especially by these dense nations like Brunswick and Saxony. With that super development, you add some buildings to that, you add some lower cost on development, and hey, they can really punch above their weight. Brunswick in particular, I think they're going to land something good this campaign. They've gobbled up 2/3 of their victory card in Picardy. Yeah, watch that space. Okay, the Ming is out of there. The peace has been made, and Hungary took pretty much what I was painting on the Sue for Peace screen. Those are mostly territorial cores for Ming, so no enormous loss. So if Ming can get their mandate back together, which is going to need a lot of devastation cleaning up, they're going to be all right. Leaner and meaner than ever before. But he's going to have to murk up, reduce this devastation, and basically get his land under relative control again.
This is interesting.
Delhi themselves grabbed only 2 provinces, just completing the Bhutan area, hardly anything to write home about. And Nepal did not get their victory card.
And I'm just saying one thing. Ming is going to punish the Manchu for being...
Oh, yeah. Hey, the Manchu are still alive, although a bit of a broken state, but now Ming have little reason to forgive them for that. Yeah, Ming out-techs the Manchu, outnumber them, even in their weakened state like this.
And they lost a lot of the stuff that... No, Korsin is from Manchu. Manchu rebel state.
Yeah, Korsin is ripe for devouring. Yeah, the Ming have quite a few rebels to work through. How's their truce looking? That truce they scored with Hungary is going to last until 95, so essentially have the 15 years to piece themselves back together. I hope they make something of that. I mean, they are still very large and very rich, although the amount of money they have in their coffers got reduced considerably.
Yep.
But what a coalition. After all this, I'm going to need to speak to Hungary and find out how they managed to get such a coalition on their side. And, you know, what their ultimate thing they wanted out of that. Maybe they just wanted to show strength against Ming, weaken the Ming. Perhaps they felt it was too big and powerful a nation to have potentially hostile on their borders. They got Timurids on their side, and I continue to be bamboozled by that. Alright, things seem to have calmed down fairly globally. There's still the war raging on between Benin and Kilwa, but this is grinded to a stalemate. Kilwa can't be invaded. They have got superiority of the seas, although I see a suspicious Australian fleet hanging around. Ghost is calling out Benin here. Benin clearly wants a lot, but Daniel does not have the war score to demand it. And there's the thing, if you're looking at this from Benin's point of view, right, what could they even demand? This is good banter. You don't have what it takes. Well, I want it. Well, I've got a big fleet. And look at that. Kilwa's fleet is just parading around Mozambique, just goading them, saying, sure, you can't touch Madagascar. The ports are closed. They're not getting in.
Yeah, but Brazil is on that side, aren't they?
Yeah, Brazil's on Benin's side, but I don't think Brazil's fleet can stand up to Kilwa's fleet. Or if nothing else, they're not actually bringing them to the fray here.
I think they can, eventually.
Well, we don't see them there. Oh, and the Delhi units are actually in Madagascar as well. I'll send you a fair deal, says Ghost. Oh, I want to see this if it comes on in. Maybe it'll be something like, give me back my land. Okay, so Ghost is showing off to Benin that they're not losing money in all of this. And that's true. They still have a surplus going on. They don't have a big army to fund, just their navy. And whilst they are getting war exhaustion, they seem to be able to pay that off. So there's a stalemate here. Ghost is not giving in to Benin demands, and they don't have to because Benin can't invade Kilwa's capital island here. Which, interestingly enough, is where they've got quite a bit of their development. If you look at the development map, a lot of this is just rough land, whereas the real place to be is Manabe.
Yeah.
I think Benin's going to have a hard time forcing anything there. And I do admire Ghost's tenacity there, right? Daniel brings in a lot on their side, right? Kilwa even has an ally abandon them. But Benin brings in Brazil and Andalusia, not to mention Suriname and whatever that other country is. But they can't quite crack Kilwa, and unless they can, Daniel's not getting that peace deal through. So, big pride worldwide for the Madagascar viewers today. Who's joining back in there?
Yemen.
Ah, yes. Welcome back, Yemen.
I just like how we have this the AI setting like so that has like AI doing nothing. It's always referred to in the code as like brain dead or zombie mode or something.
I can't actually. Okay, I think Timurids took a few provinces around Qatar from Yemen. They're still coring some of that, so I assume so.
Yeah.
Daniel is saying, send me a good deal. I want to see what this deal is, or if nothing else, I want to hear from both of these parties after the session. Because that's the thing, you know, if this were single player, Daniel could just wait for the AI to go, oh, this war's gone on too long, I have war exhaustion, da-da-da. But a human has no such constraints. They have different constraints, sure, but if they can't be forced to a peace deal, and they don't want to, then you're not going to get what you want. Daniel's looking at this as if it were an AI and they see the green tick. But this green tick doesn't force a human, it just says what an AI would do. And an AI would give up quite a bit there, like 45 war score worth or so.
And if you're looking at what Benin is doing, they're building shipyards everywhere.
Here we go, yeah, they're trying to bring up their naval capacity here. Currently, Benin is rocking, what, 6 heavies, which have just become 2-deckers. Ooh, that actually could be a game changer for Kilwa. Kilwa don't have up-to-date boats, right? What are they rocking on their heavy fleet? Those are... Ooh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong fleet here, no doubt. There we go. War galleons. War galleons
well,
and frigates.
that's what Benin has as well, so...
Benin just teched up, though. They can now build or upgrade to 2-deckers. Oh, well, peace has been declared, though. Did anything happen?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff for Brazil and South Africa has gone from Kilwa, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, so what? Big loss. It's, I don't think that's too much for them. Look, that's like 3 provinces totaling 13 development for them, and Benin got a 5 development province off of Kilwa. There we go. They just couldn't push that. Oh wow, crimes against border gore. I knew we could get a good deal. I just can't. I will be keeping your ships, though.
press F for Yemen. The Italians are back for more, and Starnan going like, no, you're
Brand new crusade. Ming not helping them in the war. Alright, no. Oh dear. Poor Yemen. They had a good run, but Jerusalem and the Papal States needed a new crusade target, and this is it. Gotta say, Milan is benefiting greatly out of this.
That's an interesting situation.
Where are they going to end up, though? I mean, there's only so much Yemen for them to cleave through, and those are 3 countries. I think the Papal State has a further goal. Otherwise, he would have taken more contiguous land here.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's more wanted to come into to Madagascar. But these Italians did not get involved in the giant war against the Ming, nor did they take advantage of the war to.
And Commonwealth is trying to grab Finland.
There we go. There's the land grab. If they do take that, I think there'll be some nice borders. Look at that Prussian border. That's pretty gorgeous.
Yes.
Oh, that is good looking. Hey, Norway's back on the map as well as a subject of Great Britain. Oh my. Ooh. Okay, Commonwealth couldn't quite finish the fight in those regards, but they took quite a bit. Hopefully back for more. I don't know if this Sweden bit. Well, if Finland would look better on Commonwealth or Prussia.
How did Vermont give up Norway and give it to?
Yeah, I'm at a loss for that. Britain can't defend that. Not that Vermont could, but why give it up? I'm at a loss for that. We're being asked if there's a Sweden player. No, the Sweden player is down and out, so that land is forfeit. It is now being divided between Pizzicato and the French Paradox. Poor Clausewitz is cool over in Yemen, just saying GG. Probably after some disastrous losses and a huge impact on war score from them. General Battle Pope on the Wiz's side. Actually, what kind of General Battle Pope were we rocking? With Pope Elector Benedictus the 13th. Whoa. Those are some good stats.
And they have an empire that reaches from Ibiza down to Medina.
Yeah, they managed to get those provinces over in Iberia. I'm not sure how much Andalusia is happy that they have them, but they do have them. Yeah, Jerusalem's heartland. Yeah, the only place that he has any real amount of land is over there in the Middle East, whereas otherwise he's got all these islands. But that's all he needs to have that massive navy going. Coastlines.
Coastlines with shipyards. That's a lesson that Daniel is learning now.
Yeah, those shipyards being built as fast as they can. Shipyards are really good. They give you an extra 2 to your naval force limit, even more so if you have things that give added bonuses to that. So they are a sound investment. They also pay off economically if you invest that into light ships. So shipyards are one of my favorite buildings. There's a question coming in asking what's left of Manchu. The answer is not much. Ming gobbled up the Korchin that was there. They are almost into a surplus of mandate growth. But not owning and controlling Nanjing is hurting. Well, they're going to fix that when they take it off those rebels. Otherwise, they have to fix their devastation, which we can check right about here. Okay, some of this devastation is going to take some real time to shift. But a lot of it's getting better. Somebody called Crumpets in chat is saying there's dirty colours, ugly map. Well, we have Sardinia Piedmont holding things up on the fortification front. That's a lovely blue that we have. And tons of white. Seldom see this much white on the map, but between Austria, Andalusia, and Jerusalem.
And Papal State.
And the Papal State.
At least we have a beautiful color in Northern Europe and Prussia.
Prussia's
nice
looking
crater.
good. Although they need to get rid of this Norway. What's it even doing
Yeah.
there?
Like, remove Norway and Sweden from the map. That's would be
Speaking
a
of nations
huge...
getting removed, Brunswick is on the rampage once more against Great Britain. They brought in Prussia and Saxony. GB has brought in Brazil, the United States. Notably, not Sardinia-Piedmont. Sardinia-Piedmont declined the call to arms from Great Britain, probably seeing what happened last time and thinking they don't want to get involved. That's going to leave Sardinia-Piedmont a little isolated diplomatically from GB, but mileage may vary on whether that's a bad thing.
And the Prussians are marching into Norway.
Yeah, I figured that Norway was indefensible for Great Britain. Great Britain needs to withdraw and shore up their defences on the island, because the mainland Europeans have this one in the bag. Somebody's pointing out yet another Sardinian betrayal. We have had claims before that Sardinia do not keep to their deals, and I think Sardinia should have seen coming a mile away the fact that Great Britain's days were numbered on the mainland. The thing is, though, if Saxony takes Bordeaux and Labourd, they're going to want the rest of those areas. They'll want Guyenne and Gascony.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like the Sardinia Piedmont is a beautiful color, but they are taking proper Saxon land. This would be a nice heartland for Saxony. But if
Saxony's grabbing around them.
If I'm Saxony, I'm waiting. I will be nibble around, maybe like let them keep there and hope that the next victory card falls in Sardinia Piedmont, and then just eradicate them.
Yeah, Sardinia Piemont's going to survive in the good graces of their fellow Italians at this rate, but they won't be able to stand up to Brunswick and Saxony, let alone Prussia coming in.
Nope.
Because again, I can't state this enough. Brunswick, they played a very low-key game early on, but when they exploded out and took that Dutch land, you know, all that coastline there, they became so incredibly powerful.
They were that close to getting severely weakened at the start. I played Cologne in the day one, and I lost a bad dice roll in a war against Brunswick.
Mm-hmm. But now they benefit from having that massive amount of development over in Cologne, so... there's plenty of strength for the Brunswick, and they make tons of money because they have that super lucrative English Channel trade node. So they make tons of money. The land is well developed, built up, good army. Their ideas, whether they got defensive.
And we have the first hegemon.
Oh, swell! There we go.
Yeah.
The Kaiser made it.
He has 250 big ships. He's a naval hegemon, and he's a power of 14. It's like spies don't bother attacking him. His fleets will be fighting a lot better. He has a lot of extra sailors. They'll have 200% extra sailors when he'll blockade so much faster, and it's like his subjects will not be, well, he doesn't have subjects really.
The Kaiser doesn't
and at maximum, his artillery will be a beast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that artillery attack from back row is pretty brutal. Have we had the dev diary on hegemons yet?
Yeah, we did that a few weeks ago.
So,
and the interesting thing, like, if we're going to score, watching the score gain, Japan, they get 9 per month because they get enormously extra from being a hegemon. The score they get from the administrative, diplomatic, and military rank are multiplied by 200% because they are.
Yeah, so if you're the hegemon and you have pretty good score gain already, that is going to be multiplied a whole lot more. Now the hegemon isn't set in stone for them. Somebody else could come out and get a more impressive.
And also they are basically the power projection. They get plus 25 for being a hegemon, and since they are ranked, they are great power and they have long-time rivals, and they are gaining extra. They will have permanent, like basically 50 power projection, which means +1 of each power each month.
Yeah, so I mean the naval hegemon is working great for them. You might not think, okay, the naval is the first one you want to go for, but for them it's working dividends. The score will help. Their artillery will help down the line, and they're just a force to be reckoned with. They were before, but now even more so. And the thing is, the Ming, who might have been a counterbalance to them, just got ravaged by European powers. So Japan isn't even that terribly threatened there.
Vermont is earning a lot because they've been winning a lot of wars recently. So they are super high and accumulating score, but...
Yeah, but they've lost out for Costa Rica.
Yeah. Who took Costa Rica?
Let's have a quick look at them.
Mexico.
Really?
Mexico.
Oh, well, fancy that. Well, how is Mexico doing, actually? They've played a really quiet game after migrating there from Spain. They make decent money. Their army is pretty small. But then again, they got the United States as a border. So I'd really like to see the Mexicans actually take on the United States and bulldoze them.
I mean, Mexico is a second-rate power on the level of Andalusia and Sardinia-Piedmont.
Sure, but the United States is a third-rate power, if that.
No, they're a fourth-rate power. Third-rate powers are like Vermont and Great Britain and Hungary.
You know, if United States didn't have that Brazilian alliance, I think Mexico could just take them on, no second thoughts. But Brazil, aka all of South America, may come to their aid, and that wouldn't be so great for them.
I would say there's one hegemon, and there's a few first-rate powers.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that the first-rate powers are Brazil, Ming, Delhi, Nepal, Commonwealth, Prussia, Saxony.
Yeah, the people that can really throw their weight around.
And I'm not saying that the Brunswick and Timurids and Benin are not first rates, but they are slightly weakened on those.
Prussia was making some kind of big claim, and I'm not sure. Well, okay, so Prussia decided to go full-on republic. The Grand Electoral Republic of Prussia has come to
Oh, and they lost militarization.
Yeah, that was a big self-blow to take. The Prussia gains a lot from its Prussian monarchy, but it seems that Pizzicato has a different idea in store for Prussia. That could be good news for others in Europe that didn't like Prussia's overwhelming strength over them, because that militarization was pretty big. Oh, right, there it is.
No,
I thought it had gone away, but no, they still have it.
Yeah,
My
it was
mistake.
because they changed.
Okay, there we go. Junker Stratux. What? I'm unsure what Prussia's going for here, but they sure are going for it. Madness. Speaking of madness, Great Britain have lost all but 2 of their mainland possessions here. They've still got Labour, they've still got Bordeaux. I'm actually surprised that Saxony didn't take those as well.
Might have been capped on war score.
Prussian rulers are now picked from the best generals, says Pizzicato, but Grugi's saying, it's not the people. It's the nobility of Prussia. Yeah, if I'm Sardinia-Piedmont, I'm starting to worry now, quite a lot. Great Britain couldn't cut the musters and the allies. Saxony is now choking me from the north. And my 2 beloved Italian allies are busy off carving out land on crusades. That's good for adding to their strengths, but...
There's no player wars, though. And we're like 9 minutes left, so...
What night? Oh, good God, where does the time go here? Well, we had the big war, which was Europe versus China. Well, more than Europe, it was Europe and India. Now Ming took a beating, but Ming can bounce back from this if they get that mandate back under control. Currently carving up rebels over there. But what's the long-term implication in that? With Ming down a bit here, Japan is really the dominant force. And Japan is just spreading throughout Siberia here. Grim.
And I don't know how they can stop this.
Hello, fine gentlemen. How are you doing today?
Oh, welcome. All the finer for seeing what you brought this dev clash. What was that all about?
I mean, two things I would say. First, there were people asking for it on the forum, and if anything, I am there to please the community. We were originally gonna go after India, but then Starnan was in China, and it was a worthy opponent. And I always had the objective in this game to sit on 2 emperors' throne. The Holy Roman Empire has already been taken care of, so the only throne left is the Dragon's throne, obviously.
Uh-huh. So Hungary's getting involved internationally.
So you're aiming to get the mandate at the same time as you're the HRE Empire?
Yes, that is the ultimate goal, is to do that. It's quite complex to manage to get both at the same time, but I think it's possible. Worst case, I'd like to at least sit on both in the same game. That would be already pretty good. But if I manage to get those 2 crowns at the same time, that would be a feat worth of Hungary.
Okay, because I was really wondering what your motivations were of bringing the fight against the Ming. But now that I understand that it's all about having those crowns, I can be a bit more understanding.
Yeah, and I mean the situation in Europe is quite complicated. Like I could turn all my alliance around to try and backstab the Commonwealth, but even so, I think that would be quite complex to manage. I don't have enough allies there, and Europe is a keg of powder. It's very hard to do anything without getting nuked.
The Commonwealth spared you on your birthday, and yet your first thought is how to backstab them.
No, and that's my point. That's why I don't want to backstab them. I mean, after annihilating my troops and ruining my land, they were nice enough to accompany us in our big adventure to the east, so it would be inconvenient.
And
to
they really helped. We saw how they fought against the Chinese soldiers. The Commonwealth were great to have on your side. Have you had diplomacy with the Ming post-war, or is there still open hostility?
Not really. I am very scared to go and talk to Starnan now. I'm very worried of how much you resent me for all of this. But we're gonna see. I will try to poke him maybe tomorrow.
Well, you were talking about high-level multiplayer play. Nothing shows that off quite like fighting the Starnan, I'll tell you that.
No, it's I am quite scared of the potential retaliation because I can definitely not take him alone. So we will hope for the best. In the meantime, the priority is to let those delightful Confucianist zealots convert the Hungarian land.
Okay, so that's what they were up to. I noticed them popping up and was wondering what they were up to. Well, you said you like to deliver what the fans are after. We'll see how much of a Loic versus Starnan fight that the fans are looking for in the next sessions.
We'll see that. Thanks for the session, Jake.
Oh, thank you for bringing the fight, and what a fight.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Hello, Jake.
Welcome, Kaiser. Fruitful session for you, no doubt?
Yeah.
How does it feel being hegemon, the only hegemon of the world?
It feels wonderful, I will admit.
And this is our first time with hegemons in multiplayer as well. So you are taking them for a test drive in ideal conditions.
Yeah, I think it's the easiest one to get off the free. So it was fortunate that I was the only one really gunning for it. At least I think I was.
Sure.
And now I have the economy. To sustain huge fleets.
Yeah, that amount of heavy fleets is a real drain on the economy. But you have the money coming in. About half of it's going off to those fleets. Yeah. But you're keeping afloat.
Yeah.
But the
and I'm gonna be
good.
But I still need to complete maritime ideas and get my naval force limit up.
Yes.
I want to get like 2,000 or something insane.
Wow. And I assume that's why you've been going for the coastline, right? I was wondering what had poor Manchu done to you, but it's just the fact that they had coastline and you obviously need more.
Yeah, exactly. The coastline and Japanese missions also on a fair bit on Manchu.
I'd never even considered that, but you have a fairly fleshed out Japanese mission tree to go through as well.
I do indeed. And also if the with the trade company changes, right? There are a lot more trade companies now in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So
and those are
you
really good for
these...
naval force limit.
Yeah, exactly. You have these static bonuses to naval force limit. So, if I can proliferate my Japanese domains everywhere, I can get an insane force limit.
But there was clearly open hostility against China. You didn't see that as an opportunity to jump in on either side. I mean, now, much like you, China clearly has some problems with Europeans.
Yeah, no, but I was busy in other stuff. I had some other smaller wars, some small player wars to take care of.
I see.
And other deals with Americans to uphold and such. So
so you are still wheeling and dealing with Americans.
I am, indeed. Brazil is a very good ally.
Oh yes, a lot of people tend
And
to ally
also
Brazil across the world. Yes, I noticed that Andalusian alliance towards the very end. When did that pop up?
I think we had it for like half the session or something. If you notice in Europe, I've started acquiring some islands.
I did not notice.
Might be. No, because there's a lot of red map colors.
Aha, right. That explains the thing earlier on about color. No, I have now noticed that the Japanese Azores, a vantage point to spy on Europe from. Interesting.
And the Shetlands as well.
The Shetlands too. Wow, you okay? Right, that flew under my radar. You just assume that that's going to be British.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, we'll see what happens. I have my options open.
Okay, but the Kaiser's clutches are very much around Europe now, and as they bicker, could be opportunity for Japan.
True.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for chiming in with the Kaiser Power Hour, or however we say it. But best of luck in whatever will befall Europe from all of this.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers, Kaiser.
So you want to wrap this up?
I suppose I should do. Should I do that usual thing where I'm like,
I think you should, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Been a great big wars, big fights. That's what we see in the Dev Clash, and we'll be seeing even more of it next Wednesday. So from all three of us in the studio,
3 people.
See you then.
Yeah, and I think the stream is over, or is it?